Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
You want to know what I'm doing to fix it?
That. Let me move on.
Well, you should read the book because there's no enemies
So-
list on that book.
so
There are
you-
people that violated their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people.
That's good. You
And they
gave
were
them due
rightly
process.
called out.
I'm
And
changing
you should give
topics.
that book to every one of your constituents so they can read about it.
I won't be doing that.
That's their loss. We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing perjury. Tell the American people how I broke the law and committed a felony. Have the audacity to actually
No,
put the
all
facts
right, then
forward
the answer is
instead of
both.
lying for political banter so you can have a 20-second
answer
donation hit.
The answer is both. I believe that the
The
men and
answer is
women of the
you're
country
failing,
needs
not
I
me.
reclaim my time.
Go ahead.
Welcome back to Right View Nation, where the truth still matters, the Constitution still stands, and we never back down from exposing the radical left's lies. Today, patriots, we're diving into a fiery clash that unfolded on Capitol Hill between a loud, virtue-signaling leftist politician, Madeleine Dean, and a true American patriot, Kash Patel. And let me tell you, the left wasn't ready for the truth he brought. So here's how it went down.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers, Ranking Member Meng, Chairman Cole, Ranking Member DeLauro. And thank you, Mr. Patel, for your testimony and for being here today. I've been looking at the President's 120-word FBI budget request, the so-called skinny, I'll call it Ozempic request, that states that, quote, the undoing of the weaponization of the FBI is one of the administration's top priorities. The weaponization of the FBI that is something that deeply concerns me. It should concern all of us. And yet, since taking office, President Trump has been on a revenge tour. He has targeted individuals, universities, law firms, with executive orders to cut them out or to make them come under his will. He has used ICE to disappear U.S. citizens without due process, and he's fully ignored a unanimous Supreme Court order, and then over the weekend wasn't sure if he was obligated to uphold the Constitution of the United States. In your book, your recent book, Government Gangsters, you include an appendix with a list of names that people have referred to as an enemies list. Now, I know you will claim it's just an appendix, not an enemies list. So let's focus on how the president sees it, on what the president calls it. And you proudly display his quote on the front cover of your book. The president calls this a brilliant roadmap, a blueprint. And I have not even raised your storied children's book, The Plot Against the King. It concerns me how many people from this blueprint have been targeted with executive orders and FBI investigations. The FBI cannot be weaponized, and under your leadership, it has been nothing but a weapon alongside the president to go after the president's perceived opponents, to stifle dissent and free speech. A few weeks ago, as we saw through a social media post that you quickly deleted, the FBI arrested a judge in Wisconsin for correctly asking ICE officials if they had a judicial warrant instead of an administrative warrant, which they did not have. Despite this judge following the law, on the morning of April the 25th, the FBI arrested the judge in an escalation of the weaponization of the FBI under your leadership. Let me be clear. A functioning democracy does not lock up judges. I am gravely concerned about the utter lack of independence of the FBI and its weaponization under your leadership. I am concerned that the president is using this book, your book, as a blueprint, as he has said. It's a blueprint for revenge. And I am concerned that your eagerness, a childlike giddiness to carry out the president's revenge tour, you've shown yourself to be unserious in your statements before you were sworn in and some after. You've shown yourself unfit to lead this important agency. I was an impeachment manager for President Trump's second impeachment. It was a sad, solemn duty. And so I wanted to ask you about that. Mr. Patel, as you and the president continue to weaponize and investigate his perceived enemies, as you follow this blueprint, when can I, a former impeachment manager, expect the FBI at my door?
Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
You
maybe
want to know
need
what I'm
write
doing
a
to
book
fix it?
about that. Let me move on.
Well, you
Change
should read the
topics.
book because there's no enemies
So-
list on that book.
So
There are
you-
people that violated their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people.
That's good. You
And they
gave
were
them due
rightly
process.
called out.
I'm
And
changing
you should
topics.
give that book to every one of your constituents so they can
changing
read
topics.
about it.
I won't be doing that.
That's their loss.
During your Senate confirmation hearings, you repeatedly denied having any involvement as a private citizen in the firing of FBI officials who engaged in the prosecution against January 6 insurrectionists, the violent rioters who beat and killed Capitol police officers, and whom you referred to as political prisoners. Since then, multiple whistleblowers have come forward, and we know that you likely committed perjury. At the same hearing, you claimed you were not familiar with Stu Peters, an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, despite the fact that you appeared on Mr. Peters' podcast 8 separate times. 8 times, and you claimed not to recall. Mr. Patel, my second question is, should we worry more about your memory or your veracity?
We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing
Veracity?
perjury. Tell the American
You didn't
people how
tell-
I broke the law and committed a felony.
You did
Have the audacity to actually
No,
put the
all
facts
right, then
forward
the answer is
instead of
both.
lying for political banter so you can have a 20-second
answer
donation hit.
The answer is both. I believe that the
The
men and
answer is
women of
you're
the
failing, not
I
me.
reclaim my time.
Go ahead.
Mr. Patel, I believe that the members of the FBI, and I know many of them, many retired, 38,000 people, as you say, it's a little less than that now, deserve the very best, deserve extraordinary independence, deserve freedom from the fears of being investigated, the freedom of coming forward to make sure they're doing their job. And I'll end with this, that I think it's interesting that in your proposal today, you find yourself at a gulf of difference between you and the president. I wonder how you will resolve that. Will you go to the president and say, we need 11.2 billion, not what you cut out of here? You're asking for more than $1 billion than the president's request. Are you going to go to the president and straighten out that gulf?
I'll do what I've always done and represent the American people, defend this country, and make sure the Constitution is always upheld and the FBI is never weaponized. Maybe you should do the same.
So you agree with the president when he says he doesn't know if he should uphold his constitutional duty?
If you want to just keep putting words in my mouth, the TV cameras are outside.
I thank you. I yield back. Again, this is an unserious moment, sadly, for the FBI. I yield back.
More so for you.
Mr. Strong.
Representative Dean starts off with the usual left-wing talking points, crying about weaponization of the FBI. But here's the irony, folks. Under Democrat control, the FBI has already been weaponized for years against parents, Catholics, journalists, and of course, President Trump. She goes off reading the skinny budget request like it's some holy scripture, whining that Trump is on a revenge tour. A revenge tour? No, ma'am. He's on a justice mission. After years of being hunted, spied on, impeached twice over lies, and having his allies targeted, President Trump is finally cleaning house. And if that makes the corrupt elites nervous, good. And then she brings up Kash Patel's book, Government Gangsters. She tries to twist it into some sort of enemies list, like this is 1970s Watergate. Give me a break. The appendix lists public officials who abused their power. That's not an enemies list. That's accountability. She complains the book is being used as a blueprint. Darn right it is, because we need a roadmap to dismantle the deep state. And Kash Patel, a man who's been in the trenches, is laying it all out for the American people to read. I say every red-blooded American should own that book and hand it to their kids. Oh, but she gets even more dramatic. She claims the FBI arrested a Wisconsin judge just for questioning IC. Let me be clear. If a judge obstructs federal law enforcement and plays politics on the bench, they should absolutely be investigated. That's not weaponization. That's enforcement of the law. Leftists cry about democracy, but only want one branch of government, theirs. A judge isn't above the law. And trust me, the left has no problem locking up political opponents when it benefits them. Just ask parents at school board meetings who've been labeled domestic threats. Now, here comes the moment of truth. Dean tries to land a big zinger by asking, "When can I expect the FBI at my door?" And Kash, like a total champ, fires back. You want to know who was targeted? Me. That's right. He exposes how he was the victim of Obama's deep state games and how he's fighting to fix it. Mic dropped. He doesn't back down. He defends every name in that book, refuses to accept the lies being hurled at him, and challenges Dean to bring facts instead of political theater. That's the kind of strength we need in Washington. Oh, and the left's desperation reaches peak level when she brings up some podcast appearances and calls Patel a liar. She accuses him of perjury without evidence, classic leftist smear tactics. If you can't win on policy, you throw mud. And they wonder why Americans are tuning them out. Dean even questions Patel's memory and truthfulness, while she can't even tell the difference between a real insurrection and a political protest. She brought zero proof, just empty rhetoric and media soundbites. And finally, she accuses Patel of asking for more money than Trump for the FBI. Listen, if Kash is asking for more funding, it's not to build a liberal surveillance state. It's to rebuild a shattered agency and root out corruption from the inside. He wants resources to protect Americans, not persecute them. Dean tries to twist it as a contradiction, but the truth is, Kash Patel has more integrity in one finger than most of DC combined. And when he tells her, "You're failing, not me," boom. Truth bomb. Game over. This hearing wasn't just a political fight, it was a wake-up call. The left is terrified. Terrified. Because men like Kash Patel are standing up. Because President Trump is coming back stronger. And because we the people are wide awake. If you're sick of the lies, if you're tired of watching the FBI used as a weapon by the radical left, then like, share, and subscribe right now to Right View Nation. Ring that bell so big tech can't bury the truth. Together, we're taking back this country, one truth bomb at a time. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.